What's going on now, guys? How's it? Got a little hair in my beard there. Sorry about the StreamYard issues once again. I'm still trying to get those ironed out. For some reason, I can't connect my StreamYard to YouTube, but we can still go over some plays. I'll just kind of read off some ownerships if you guys are interested in that. Yeah, I'm super excited for this Sunday. I think we got a good slate of games. Really interested in Miami and Patriots again. I know it could be a little bit dangerous, possibly. Um, Trying to get this out of my freaking beard. Everything's backwards on this stream, so it's kind of funky. But yeah, we're super excited for this week. Just run through some ownerships real quick at the QB spot. Um, Joe Burrow coming in the highest owns. I think my favorite play this week is probably Caleb Williams at 5%. I don't hate it against this Lions defense, who is so mediocre. I really like the game script environment, specifically coming back on the Amon-Ra St. Brown side. I think that's super interesting. I think you can get definitely weird there. Amon-Ra shouldn't be pulling no ownership, but we'll see how that pans out. We have Jahmyr Gibbs as well on that bring back. I'm fine with either just full onslaught in this game. I think that could be a real. I think it could be a real positive move if you want to go that route. But yeah, Caleb Williams at 5% is it's actually jumped up a little bit. It was around 4. Tua's pulling no ownership. If you wanted to go back there again, I can't hate you for it. I probably will get some of it. I want to get some Tyreek for sure. I think Tyreek is on a comeback game this week. Could be wishful thinking. Could be me getting burnt last week and wanting to get right this week. Um, so I don't know. I'm really torn between the slate because there's so many good options, man. I'm not paying up at quarterback. I think we get better value in a Caleb Williams or a Jared Goff or a Drake May. Um, Drake May's rushing ability is definitely there. Um, Caleb Williams, negative game script could also be there with his rushing upside. We've seen that. Rome Odunze's fun. Pulling no ownership. I think he has like 4. Um, Actually, I might be able to share this here. Yeah, we're sharing. So okay, that's cool. Yeah, so we got Russ. Russ is definitely out of the equation, I think, this week, guys. Not one of the main guys I want to target. Just I don't know. I feel like it's going to be weird. A weird game, really. I'm not getting a lot of Dak. I know a lot of people love Dak this week. I'm not going back to Dak. But if you want to stack it with CD, I'm okay with it. I don't love it with DK. I'd rather have exposure to Caleb or a Drake May or a Bo Nix. Bo Nix pulling 2% ownership's interesting. Golf's been steamed up a little bit at 2.5% ownership. Definitely weird though. This slate's gonna be a doozy. I think it's setting up like one. If we jump over to receiver sum, who do we have? We have. Let me make sure one thing before we absolutely start kicking off because I'm talking to myself like a madman, which I do anyways. Let's see if we're actually live on YouTube. That would be a nice. Let's see. I want to see if I'm live. Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. So we're live. Why is it not showing? Yeah. Okay. All right. So if we think about this slate as a whole, I think some pivots you can make, especially in that wide out spot, getting off that Jamar Chase, um, is just saying, "Hey, I'm just going to go with the CD at 14%." I don't think that's a terrible idea. I'm definitely not getting any Hollywood Brown. I still don't understand that. I don't get the play there. If you guys see it, so be it. I don't like uh, Hollywood Brown at 18% ownership, and Harold freaking Fannin too. He's been steamed up a bunch. 12% ownership for a Browns tight end. No, thank you. I will dodge that with everything I have. Sam Laporta's interesting at 7%. He's kind of been steamed up. I thought he was going to go. He might go a little under owned still. I think a lot of people are going to get to your Kelsey's, McBride, and Fannin. Fine there. I think Andrews is probably more expensive or be higher owned than Laporta. But as we discussed in our video, tight end wise, I'm really starting to lean more towards this Grant Calcaterra play, just for the salary relief, right? If we think a lot of tight ends fail this week and you don't necessarily need one, I mean, you're getting a lot of, you're getting $1,500 more to plug in your lineups. And that allows you to get to your Saquon Barkley's, your Jameer Gibbs, your St. Browns, you're probably not going to go all the way up to a Jamar Chase in that, but you can get pretty much the same. I mean, I don't want to say that. Okay, so Chase Brown, if you think he winds up scoring like 2 touchdowns or 3 touchdowns rushing, then don't play Jamar Chase. I don't like those 2 together. I don't think they coincide in this game. It's just a tough take. I think this is more of a I don't think it's I think it probably hits the total, but I don't think it's gonna be one super one-sided, like a Jamar Chase 4 touchdown game or something crazy. I think you're probably gonna see 1 out of T, 1 out of Chase, 1 out of Brown, and maybe 2 out of Brown if you can hope for a rushing touchdown, which is super cool. I see we got another viewer in the chat. What's going on, man? How's it going? Um, I have my chat pulled up if you wanna chat. So what do you think about that play? We have kinda getting off of this, Cincinnati game as a whole. Is that a terrible option? And just saying, I want Chase Brown and get me out of there. I was high on Burrow coming in, but showing 11% ownership's a little high. Just, I mean, does he have the 40-point potential? Of course he does, and a great game. But for me, it always seems in DFS that these great games never pan out most of the time. If you want to pivot and go to Caleb Williams or a Jared Goff in that game, I like that game a lot more. I just like a dome game better. Um, the Bengals defense is terrible though. The Jags defense is so. Maybe better than we expected this year. So I find Travis Hunter an interesting play this week too. Let's see what he's pulling. Just kind of pivoting away from the receivers for Cincinnati. Where's he at? Yeah, 5,200 at 4% ownership. I mean, that's not a bad GPP play. Um, if you think the upside's definitely there because I mean, projection wise, he's projecting for 13 points, but we don't know his exact floor yet. We don't know the work usage. It's been 1 week. I think a lot of people are overreacting. Um, so I find that kind of interesting, to say the least. Another player that's interesting to me is Rashad Bateman for those GPP plays at 46 at 1% ownership. That's not insane, I don't think. He's definitely there for a touchdown and like 80 yards. We've seen it before. Uh, Lamar likes Bateman. He just didn't really target him week one. I don't think Zay Flowers continues this 70% target share. I think that's an outrageous price for him. I think there's too many mouths to feed in that offense. I look for Andrews to get involved more and Bateman involved more. So I kind of lean towards a Bateman, but that's not the game we were chatting about. We were on discussing Chase Brown and this whole Bengals side. Brian Thomas at 12% ownership. I guess it's fine. I don't love it. Uh, I'm just not as high on Brian Thomas this year. I don't think Trevor Lawrence is this quarterback that everyone claims he is. I kind of shy away from these Trevor Lawrence spots, if I'm being quite honest. And maybe it'll bite me in the end of the day, but I'd rather get to this Lions and the Lions and the Bears game more predominantly. Um, if we think about T. Higgins, I mean, 16. See, that's the thing with this though. It's so the ownership's gonna be so heavy on those 2. I'd just rather pivot to Chase Brown and get out of there. If Jamar Chase is in a lineup 9 times out of 10, I guarantee you Joe Burrow will be in that lineup. So if you just want off him, that's fine. Just say Burrow doesn't come along for the ride. I mean, I don't hate that. Maybe you think Jamar gets like 2 touchdowns and Chase Brown gets the other 2, right? And they get out of the game. I mean, that's completely viable. Or maybe you think Chase Brown gets 1 and my favorite tight end, sneaky tight end of the week. This is probably gonna get me a lot of hate, but I think Mike Gesicki's nasty at no ownership in a good game environment. I think he's a good pivot too from the Brenton Strange. I'm not on with that guy at all. I know everybody loves him, and they loved him all year last year too, and he didn't do nothing, and he's not going to do nothing. I think he had 1 game with like 18 points last year. We've seen what Brenton Strange can do. He didn't even get the touchdown last week. It was Hunter Long, so yeah. I'm not big on the Brenton Strange this week. I like Gasecki better at no ownership. I think it's just, it's not cheap. It's not su but it's not, like, overtly expensive either, so 3,400. He shoulda had a touchdown last week, and I was on Gesicki a lot last week again. I like to kinda double dip when I'm going into, these weeks, because usually I'll end up playing a player heavy 1 week, and then next week he'll go off, so that's usually what happens to me, but he's in a good game script. You can't deny that. I mean, uh like I said, if you're looking for leverage, that's one way to get it. Yeah, get off of Jamar Chase, go Chase Brown, and get off T. Higgins and go Gesicki, and say Joe Burrow only throws 2 touchdowns this week, and Chase Brown runs the other ones in. I mean, that's a possibility as well. So, really kind of shine away now. I'm thinking about this on Sunday, just because the ownership is just so high. Burrow's at 12%. He'll probably be higher than that. He'll be closer to 15, I think. I really think Burrow's gonna be closer to 15%. So I'm not in love with it. Running back, though, is getting a little weird, though. We have Kyren Williams steamed up at 17%. I mean, are we really paying that for Kyren? 6,300, the price is there. It's not bad play. I like him on better than Chase Brown, I think. Um just for the touchdown equity. Chase Brown's a good running back as well, and a lot in the receiving game. Kyron's not in the receiving game. I like Kyron. I like Jahmyr Gibbs a lot this week too. 7,400. He's one of the better pay up options. I'd rather go him than a Henry. Jahmyr Gibbs and Barkley. I'm getting a lot of those in the same lineup. I'm aiming for that big boom week, and that's how I'm going to get them. I think Saquon has an awesome game against the Chiefs. No Dallas Goddard, gotta love that. So look for them to run heavy this week. I think they want to slow the pace of this game down. I think that's how they'll play it. Rely on that defense a lot. So I'm really getting a lot of Saquon Barkley and um, Jahmyr Gibbs lineups, which is totally fine. But if you jump off of Jahmyr Gibbs and we scroll down a little bit, we have Travis Etienne at 8%. That's a little steep. I know people are on it chasing last week, but man, I don't know what to make of this Travis Etienne situation. He was awesome like 2 years ago and then kind of fell off a cliff with Tank Bigsby entering the chat. Um, I don't know. Am I crazy for kind of laying off of Travis Etienne in a good game script? They're going to play from behind, but I don't know. I don't love it. It's just a meh play for me. I'd rather get to at the same price or even a little cheaper. I know we mentioned DeAndre Swift is one of my favorite plays of the week too. You know, for GPP type stuff. If you're going to run a 3-back set on your lineups, you go Jahmyr Gibbs, you go DeAndre Swift, and you go Saquon Barkley. I think that's a good stack, and I have a lot of that exposure to that trio stack there. DeAndre Swift, 4% ownership, you can't hate it. I mean, we've seen the pass game relevancy with this new addition to Ben Johnson in the offense. He's kind of taken on that Jahmyr Gibbs role, and Ben Johnson used to coach him in Detroit. So yeah, I don't hate the DeAndre Swift play. Anybody cheaper that I'm interested in? Montgomery, of course, always there for your touchdown equity. Maybe you think this game's kind of playing from ahead. It's a blowout. Montgomery's going to see a lot of work. I don't hate it. 2% ownership. You got to kind of like it, right? Montgomery's always there for 2 touchdowns, and at 5,400, he could pay that off with 2 touchdowns, easy. It gets you like 21. I mean, that can get you there, especially as price tag and ownership. A lot of leverage there. You're pulling leverage off of Gibbs, which I don't hate. So I want to say he's actually in play. So yeah, I really don't mind David Montgomery in there at play. Um, what's interesting to me though is this Saquon play is 7%. I think he's so underowned this week, man. How do you not play Saquon this week, right? Like we seen it last year, and I absolutely got burnt in those playoff game slates by just absolutely fading Saquon, and he was going bananas. I thought it was big brain. Maybe people are thinking this is big brain, and they want to stay away from that 8K price tag. What's Derrick Henry at? 9%. So he's around the same at 82. I don't love that Derrick Henry play either. I think this Baltimore team's a little bit distraught. Like I don't want to get too crazy ownership in that game. I think it's just going to be a nasty Browns defense game, if we're being honest. I think it's going to be a defense divisional game. They're going to want to slow the game down. I don't like the upbeat potential of that game. I guess you could say I like Brees Hall, 6,200, 6%. It's not a terrible play. James Cook's one of my favorite plays too this week, 6%. It's leverage off of Josh Allen. I mean, we've seen that. If he runs into Josh Allen's probably dead in the water. Uh, if Josh Allen doesn't run a touchdown, and you're probably dead in the water, which he probably likely will, but on the chance that he doesn't, and you're right, James Cook's probably going to be in those lineups. So I don't hate it at 6% on James Cook. Demont, like you said, he's fine at 2.5 ownership. You know, um, Yeah, nothing really else sticking crazy out to me. Javante at 9% ownership. I'll get some of it, but I don't love it. Alvin Kamara is kind of sneaky-ish. I don't want to play a lot of McCaffrey in my GPP builds. I'm not. I think McCaffrey could be another stand this week. I was close last week. He didn't absolutely torch that game, but he did do decently. So, I mean, the work usage is there. I just don't like Mac Jones, and I don't trust Mac Jones in that offense. I don't think that's the move. If it beats me, it beats me, but I'm not getting there in GPP stuff. So whatever. You can call me an idiot. Call me whatever. I don't really like taking running backs at 30% ownership. I know he's probably underpriced by like $400, but it's still Chris McCaffrey and a Mac Jones offense. So not the same big play potential there from McCaffrey, in my opinion. Saints defense is not great, but if you're fading the McCaffrey train and you want to go with a defensive game, I like the Saints for an anytime touchdown, and I like the Saints defense. They're pulling no ownership, so $2,500 punt. There's so many cheap um, defenses that are interesting. Saints, 7% ownership, pulling some. The public's kind of on the same train I am, so I don't hate it. Yeah, but if you're fading McCaffrey, I like the Saints in that spot. Back to our receivers, I want to talk some sneaky guys. Um, Chris Olave is a no for me. Targets were there last week. I think he had 8. I just don't want to get there. I don't want to be a part of that game, really, other than defenses. Yeah, 10% is a little high for my liking for Olave, not getting a lot there. Devontae Adams, interesting at 9% ownership, $5,900. I don't hate that play again this week. See, we got 4 more people in the chat. What's up, guys? How's it going? Hopefully you guys are enjoying this. Yeah, we're just going over some different ownership and ways to play this slate, I think. Just some of my thoughts and opinions. If you guys missed it, we were just talking about McCaffrey. We are kind of shying away from that this week, especially in your larger field GPP stuff. Let me know what you guys think. Am I crazy in the chat or what? I just think it's a high it's a high. I mean, the game's nasty, and if you're looking at 30% ownership on McCaffrey, and I think he's steamed up more to 35 to 38. I think this is a little low. I think you'll see a lot more people pivot to McCaffrey. Just, after last week, the performance last week, they're gonna love it, they're gonna chase it. Mac Jones, I'm staying away. Not a Mac Jones guy. I'm not a Trevor Lawrence guy. I'm out on the Jaguars, ex-Jaguar quarterbacks, I'm out. No, thank you. I don't want no I want no smoke with that. As we were talking about some running backs, we were mentioning, or sorry, we're on receivers. I think Amon-Ra is interesting at 7%. I'm gonna have a lot of Amon-Ra this week. I like this get right spot. They're gonna bounce back, I think. JMO's also interesting in there as well. He's gonna have no ownership at 3%. If you think it's a big stab, go ahead and take your stance there, right? If you think this is gonna be, a back and forth shootout type of game, you wanna have all kinds of parts of this game. And I think that's the move this week is really keying in on this Lions Bears game. I was in on the Bengals, but not so much anymore. I like Chase, but I really like the spot for Amon-Ra. It's 7K. That's like $1,000 too cheap for Amon-Ra. We've seen his target usage before. Is this the same offense? No. Do they still have big play potential? Of course. Does Amon-Ra have 10 targets in his belt? Of course. I mean, that's a no-brainer. No Jalen Jones for the Bears. Let's actually see what I'll pull up the injury reports on the Bears. Yeah, they're kind of banged up badly on defense is why I kind of like. Okay, so you have no Kyle Gordon. He's out. Jade Walker is a receiver. Grady Jarrett, lineman, he's questionable. So Jalen Johnson was full practice yesterday, so he'll probably play. Yeah. Okay. Not terrible. You got a DB, Josh Blackwell. He was full practice yesterday. Who knows about that situation? But kind of looking over those injuries, I still think Amon-Ra's in a slam spot. Laporta, you bring him along with him, but I'm going to be getting a lot of golf stacks and a lot of. I think golf is kind of going to be one of my favorite plays this week. Him and Caleb Williams. I want parts of this game and all I can get of it. So I don't hate any of that. If we scroll down, Marv's interesting at 6%, $5,800. I don't hate it. George Pickens is interesting if you want to pivot off a CD. He's just a little expensive. He should be around that 55 mark, but 5%, you can't hate it. Cedric Tillman again at 3%. He's always in play with Flacco under the helm. Maybe you think this game shoots out. Who else do we have? Yeah, Flacco is interesting too, with a Tillman stack. If you think Flacco goes off this game, I don't hate it at 5K. I like him better than Mac Jones. I'll spend 1,000 more on Flacco in a revenge game than I will playing a Mac Jones. Devontae Smith is one of those guys I want to key in on this week at 9%. A little steamed up, but no Dallas Goedert. You got to love that spot for him. You either go here or you go to Saquon and maybe play both. I don't know. I don't know yet. I'm not getting a lot of Jalen Hurts, so I'll kind of tend away from the double stacks. But we've seen weird things happen. Devontae Smith is interesting at 9% ownership. Adunze is a good play, I think, at 8%. I'll be all over that. DJ Moore is kind of pulling some no ownership now. Less ownership than Odunze. I think a lot of people were on Odunze to begin with just to pay the cheaper price. DJ Moore, though, always in play. They were wanting to get him involved a lot. You couldn't deny that on Monday night. DJ Moore, it's a coin flip between those two. Who knows? It just depends who gets in the box. And I think the anytime touchdown was at like 195 and 200 in favor of Odunze. So maybe you think the deep ball goes to Odunze and he gets you 100 in a touchdown. But DJ Moore's always there. He's kind of playing that. He's kind of playing a Debo role now. They had him lined up in the backfield running the ball a lot. So that was definitely weird to see. Sutton, I'm kind of liking this Denver game a lot more. Denver's interesting because Bo Nix has no ownership. Sutton's low ownership. And if we want to talk mega brain plays here, let's go to freaking Marvin Mims, dude. No ownership. Marvin Showtime Mims. Probably going to bite us in the butt, but no ownership, 4,100. He's a viable punt play. You know, what was the injury report on the Colts? Let me check this out. I know a bunch of guys were out, which I'm kind of looking forward to. But we'll see. I think Travarius Ward's out for sure. I know he was limited. I think it was Thursday. He was limited on Thursday, but I think he's out now. DeForest Buckner was on arrest. Tyler Goodson, the running back, he's questionable. Jalen Jones is out. We need to hear more about this Latu play. He's questionable. Travarius is out. So you have two cornerbacks out for sure, and you have Latu. He'll probably play. He was just limited, but if Latu's out, this defense is going to be in a hurt. I think last week was kind of a fluke. Just not taking anything off of that game, but yeah, we got Latu out in that game, which makes the Marvin Mims situation interesting. If you think Sean Payton's want to stretch this field out, he's definitely a good GPP play. It's nasty, but I mean that's how you got to play in those streets, right? You got to get a little nasty. So I don't mind Marvin Mims. Uh, I'm kind of shook up now a little bit on my Adunze because I have a lot of Adunze, which I don't hate. I still think he's an awesome play, but DJ Moore is a little bit interesting to me now, just for the fact of less ownership at 6%. He'll probably be lower than that. But you see kind of the move there. But Marvin Mims at no ownership's interesting as heck. I think you could probably see a 20-point game out of him, 80 yards and a touchdown. So I don't hate that. If we scroll down a little more, Stephon Diggs is in play. Waddle, he was questionable. He's always hurt. So, whatever. If you're running a Tua, you want to run a Waddle stack with it. Booty, no, I don't want to get there a lot. Bateman, I want to get there. Yeah, I like Bateman. Xavier Legette, these are just kind of dart throws, really, down here in this range. Josh Downs is interesting, though, at 4,600. All depends how great you think that Denver D is. But I don't know. Josh Downs is interesting, though, to me at only, what we say was 1% ownership. So not terrible. I don't know why this is not refreshing. Go back to the main. All right, so if we sorry, Fazan Hamrick. What was that, buddy? I know that is hard to stream. Oh, okay. All right, well, good, man. Glad you're here, brother. Thanks for commenting down below. If any of you guys want to join, I can drop the StreamYard. Actually, I can't because I'm not on StreamYard. So don't shout out StreamYard. You guys need to make this a little bit more user friendly. Wouldn't allow me to link up with my YouTube, so I'm streaming off YouTube. So that's why it's kind of delayed. But we kind of scrolling around in these tight end ranges. Let's see what we're getting. Not getting that nasty, but Stoneman, Calcaterra is fun. I don't hate it at 2,500, 2% for that salary relief. Maybe, if he gets in the box, he's in play at 25. He doesn't have to do a lot. Two, 3 grabs and a touchdown, maybe. He doesn't have to do a lot. So, maybe in a back and forth game, they're looking to lean on that tight end a little more. So I don't hate that. What else do we have? Andrews? Nah, I'm not getting a lot of Andrews, really. I'm not super interested in that. Njoku at 4%. It's okay. If you want to go there. I know a lot of people are going to be Fannin, so he's direct, leverage off of Fannin. I kind of have Fannin out of my player pool. But What is Fannin? Let me clear this out so we'll be able to see. I wasn't wanting to get a lot of Fannin. Let's see where Fannin is. He's probably gonna be 10% at least. You gotta think he's 10%. Yeah, 12%. Wow, 12% Harold Fannin. I'm not there. Maybe on your Flacco stacks, you could say that, but uh, I don't love it. Tyler Warren's interesting at 5%. Jawan, of course. I was big on Jawan Johnson last week. So that was one of the plays I nailed. Hunter Henry had a pretty good game as well. One more catch and a touchdown. Could have definitely broke open that tight end slate for us. He had an awesome game, though. I think he had like 60 yards on 8 targets. So I don't hate, again, going back to Hunter Henry. He's a little bit more expensive this week by $400. Still should be around that 38 range, I think. But we said Gasecki is definitely in play in your Mega Million type of big brain stuff there. No ownership. That's fun play. Who else really? I said, yeah, where's he at? Let's see. Jonnu Smith's fun at 2%. Don't hate that. 39. He's just a little more expensive now. Receivers, where's DK Metcalf? 8%. So he's getting steamed up a lot. It's a whenever play. I'm not buying in that revenge narrative a whole lot. But Seahawks is banged up, so I don't hate it. Tyreek's fun at 7%. He's kind of went down a lot more now, so definitely in play again this week. Marv's at 6. Like Ayana Ayamanor, Aomanor, Ilik Aomanor, 3%. Sorry about the butchering of the name. JMO, he's definitely in play. I want to get a lot of JMO this week. 3%. We mentioned that before. Pittman, target volume, yeah, maybe a cash play, really. Nobody else is really creeping on me here. Troy Franklin's fine at 37, 1% ownership. Maybe you think he gets in the box. Tyquan Thornton, I mentioned him in our plays. I think he's an awesome play at 36, especially with no Worthy now. Everybody's going to Hollywood Brown. Just go ahead and pivot off another bum from bum to bum because Hollywood Brown is a bum. Pivot off of Hollywood Brown and go to Tyquan Thornton for literally like $1,600 less. I mean, we don't know the wide receiver one. Everyone thinks it's Hollywood Brown, but we don't know that to be exact. I like Tyquan Thornton at 36. So just kind of thinking this out in our head. I want to put in Demario Douglas, maybe Pop Douglas at 43. It's a fine punt. I like that game. I don't hate the game. I'm going to be bigger on this game than most. I think Tyreek has an awesome game this week. I think it's a show up or showdown spot for Tyreek. If they don't get it going here, it's over. I won't go back again this year. John Dotson, it's nasty at 2%, or not even a percent, 0.25% of an ownership. Okay, I could see it. I like Devontae Smith better, though. Malik Neighbors is a no. I don't like Brian Thomas this week. I'm okay on Jamar Chase. I'll probably be around that 8%, 18% with the field. T. Higgins not getting 16% of T. Higgins. No, thank you. I don't love that game this much. Like I said, I'll be on the Lions and Bears game. You guys can have all the Bengals and the Bungles and the Jags you want. So defenses, we can chat a little about them. We got some lineups to get in, so we'll be getting out of here shortly. I just want to kind of go over some stuff. Hopefully, we'll have some people joining us this year on our lives to kind of bounce ideas off of. That would be definitely fun. Dolphins, no. Saints, yes. I like the Saints for a cheap punt. Browns, okay. Cheap punt, 22, 4%. It's not terrible. Broncos, 3%. That's not a bad play against Danny Dimes if you think he's a fluke, which he may be. Eagles is not bad at 1%. I don't mind the Eagles with a Saquon stack. Not really getting much else. Cardinals, I guess. Cardinals is it's an play. They're not that good either. Not $3,400 good. Cowboys. I'd just go to Cowboys game instead, playing against Russ. I like a Cowboys for an anytime touchdown on the defensive side this week too. I don't think that's out of the play really. In Dallas, look for Dallas to show up this game. CD's an awesome play too. 14% ownership if you get off of your Jamar Chases. Ravens are a no. Rams are going to be super owned. So sometimes just the best spots are the best spots. I love the Rams this week. So does the public. 13% is a little high on a defense, but nobody really else stands out in that price range. So yeah, it's okay. That's about it for that. I think we kind of went over everything. So, if you guys don't have any more questions, I will be getting out of here. I got some lineups to put in, getting ready for this big Sunday slate. I hope you guys ship the Millie, man. I hope somebody in the chat wins the Millie. That would be awesome to see. Um, who knows? It can happen, guys. Marvin Showtime Mims is coming in at 1% ownership, baby. The creepy play of the day for me is Marvin Showtime Mims, 1%. I think it's off the wall. I think it's nasty, and I like getting nasty. So, if you guys don't have any questions, I will be out of here. We'll see you guys again next Sunday. Um, Maybe I might start doing some DFS before locks too, if you guys are interested in that. But like I said, StreamYard is being not user friendly, so I'm on YouTube and it's kind of sketchy, so I don't love it. But we've been here for 40 minutes, and it's been a pretty decent stream. I think we had some viewers in the chat, so shout out to you guys. Shout out to Fazan Hamrock. Um, Thanks for commenting, brother. I hope you do good this week. Marvin Showtime Mims, put it in play, guys, and we'll see you guys on the next episode. Peace.